The series kicks off with a student aggressively carving her name and birth date into a wall. Wrong. March 12th, 2005. Once she's done, she whips out her phone to record a video, and it's painfully obvious she is completely unhinged. She looks right into the lens and says, "You're probably wondering, what is this crazy girl doing? Have you ever heard that if you write down your name and birth date, any wish you make will come true instantly? But there's always a catch, and my wish is for all of you to die in the exact same way I do." True to her dark promise, she pulls out a sharp tool, plunges it right into her neck, and drags it across. Blood covers the entire place, and she bleeds out right then and there. Cut to 3 years after this gruesome tragedy. We meet C, a high schooler living with her doctor aunt after tragically losing both her parents in a car crash. Judging by her closet, which is absolutely stacked with gold medals, she's a star athlete. But there's a downside. She struggles with intense loneliness since her aunt is practically living at the hospital. Still, she kicks off her day with a bright attitude, energetically whipping up some breakfast. Suddenly, she hears a loud thud from the apartment right above hers. A huge smile instantly lights up her face. She knows it's Ji-yeon, her close friend, and as it turns out, her secret boyfriend, who is finally waking up. They've been keeping their romance totally under wraps, so they don't drop a bombshell on the rest of their friend group. Realizing he's running super late, Ji-yeon grabs his bag and violently dashes down the stairs to catch C before she leaves without him. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Nari, the third member of their squad, riding comfortably in the back of a chauffeured car. The second she spots Ji-yeon crossing the street, she quickly hops out, frantically touching up her hair to make sure she looks absolutely flawless for him. Yep, we've got a seriously messy love triangle on our hands. But Nari's whole vibe instantly sours the moment she sees C walking right beside him. She's definitely got her suspicions that something is going on between those two. She just doesn't have the proof yet. Suddenly, their fourth friend, Kim, crashes the party. This guy is the definition of laid back. He literally could not care less about anything. He gives Ji-yeon and C this weird, suspicious look and goes, "Look, we've been friends since middle school, but something's off with you two. Are you guys secretly dating behind our backs or what?" Nari gets instantly triggered and snaps at him, terrified that his joke might actually be true. But Kim doesn't back down. He turns his sights on her and teases, "Let me guess, you're nursing a major one-sided crush, aren't you?" Shockingly, she just flat out admits it. "Yeah, I like Ji-yeon." Cue the dead, awkward silence. The situation just got way too complicated. As soon as they walk into the classroom, we spot the final member of their crew, Han. He's chilling at his desk, watching coding tutorials and looking totally confused as to why everyone looks so miserable this early in the morning. Kim shrugs and says, "I could tell you what just went down, but first, how about you fix my laptop and call it my birthday present?" Just then, the teacher walks in to announce the math test scores. Turns out only 2 students managed to ace the exam. The first one is Han, obviously, but the second one, it's Kim. And let me tell you, this is a straight-up scientific miracle because Kim barely scrapes by in all of his classes. At that exact moment, Kim's phone buzzes with a notification from an app called Girigo. The message? "Your wish has come true." He looks around in pure disbelief, completely failing to process what's actually happening. By lunchtime, his friends pull him into a mini interrogation session. They demand to know what kind of sketchy stuff he pulled to ace that test. Did you steal the answers? Did you swap papers? Seriously, what's the deal? Bursting with pride, Kim tells them, "None of the above. I just downloaded this app called Girigo, and it grants wishes." Since Nari has zero patience and a notoriously short fuse, she cuts him off immediately. "I can't believe I'm actually sitting here wasting my time listening to this," she snaps. C tries to keep things civil, asking him to just be straight with them and stop messing around. But Kim doubles down. He explains that the app isn't on the official store, but since they're his friends, he'll send them the download link. "All you have to do," he says, "is write your name and birth date on a piece of paper, record a video inside the app making your wish, and boom, it comes true." To prove he isn't lying, he shows them the video he recorded wishing to ace the math test. His friends just burst out laughing at how ridiculous he's being, totally baffled that he actually believes a random app could do all of that. C is the only one who tries to talk some sense into him. She tells him, "Look, maybe you need to lay off your ADHD meds because you're clearly losing your mind." Desperate to prove them wrong, Kim opens the app to show them the confirmation message. But instead, he's greeted by a countdown timer. 22 hours, 58 minutes, and 22 seconds. He panics for a second, totally clueless about what it's counting down to. But he quickly brushes it off, convincing himself it's probably just a cooldown timer until he can make his next wish. Later, we see Nari standing in front of the bathroom mirror, obsessively checking her weight. C walks in and asks, "Are you doing all this for Kim's birthday?" Nari, who absolutely can't stand Kim, rolls her eyes and immediately goes on a rant. She complains about how immature he is, acting like a literal child. I mean, seriously, who wishes on an app? Plus, Plus, all he ever talks about is anime, and he's constantly embarrassing us in public. C gets annoyed by her harsh attitude and reminds her that Kim's parents put a ton of pressure on him about his grades, which is why he's trying so hard. But she quickly changes the subject because, speak of the devil, they run right into him in the hallway. Kim notices they went dead silent the second he appeared and asks, "Were you guys just talking about me?" Surprisingly, Nari jumps in to save the situation, lying smoothly. "We were just brainstorming what to get you for your birthday." Kim's face completely lights up. He tells them he doesn't care about gifts at all. He's just genuinely thrilled they're going to spend the day with him. Meanwhile, high up in the mountains, the scene shifts to the shaman, Seol. Her entire life's work revolves around exorcising evil spirits. Just as she finishes cleansing her ritual space, a snake suddenly slithers out of nowhere. Her blood runs cold. She instantly recognizes this as a dark omen. A massive disaster is looming. She immediately rushes to her husband and assistant Hong and warns him, "We need to prepare. Now, we're going to have a visitor very soon." Back at school, C and Jian are at track and field practice. They're high jumpers, but right as Jian approaches the bar, his body completely freezes up. The coach loses it, yelling, "Haven't you learned anything? Wasn't getting disqualified last year enough? Focus and get a grip on your fear." While the coach is distracted, C secretly whispers to him, making sure no one catches on to their relationship. She tells him, "Right before you jump, close your eyes and imagine the whole place is just a giant cloud. You can do this." Jian's face lights up, genuinely touched that she cares enough to help him push through it. By the end of practice, the coach pulls C aside. "You made the national team," she says, "so focus on your training and cut back on the romance, or at least help the boy get over his fear so he can qualify with you." C is totally stunned. The coach knew about them the whole time. Meanwhile, back in the classroom, Kim is struggling hard. He can't wrap his head around any of the schoolwork. Suddenly, he gets a call from C. He steps out into the hallway to answer, but what he hears completely destroys him. It's C's voice, talking to the rest of the group. "Why would I waste my time going to a birthday party for a total loser like Kim?" The others chime in, agreeing that he's completely pathetic and does nothing but watch cartoons all day. Kim is absolutely gut-punched. How could his best friends talk trash about him behind his back like that? Desperate to prove it's all just some sick prank, he hangs up and frantically calls C back. But no matter how many times it rings, she doesn't answer. Her phone is buried deep in her bag during track practice. The truth is, that cruel phone call, no one knows where it came from or how it was even made. Unaware of the damage being done, the first thing C does after practice is run straight to Jian, screaming, "I made the national team." He's so hyped for her that he literally starts jumping up and down. Later, when Sia gets home, she texts her aunt to share the good news. That's when she notices Kim called her over 50 times. She's totally confused. He's never done anything like that before. She's about to call him back, but gets distracted by her aunt texting, "Order whatever you want. It's on me. Let's celebrate." C is bummed out. She really wanted to celebrate together, but since her aunt is practically living at the hospital again, she calls an audible and invites Jian downstairs to eat with her. At the exact same time, Nari is chilling at home, snapping selfies for Instagram. An older guy she knows slides into her DMs, asking if she wants to go clubbing with them tonight. Since she's underage, he even offers to forge a fake ID for her. He just needs her to send a picture. Thrilled by the invite, she immediately agrees and heads out. Meanwhile, C remembers Kim and quickly calls him to check in. She's taken aback by his tone. He sounds incredibly upset. He asks her, "Are you seriously not coming to my birthday party?" Unfortunately for him, she genuinely can't make it because of national team practice. But Kim isn't having any of her excuses and just hangs up on her right then and there. C is super frustrated. She never expected things to escalate like this. On top of that, she's stressing over the fact that Nari will be there, completely ready to use the opportunity to make a move on Jian. Jian just laughs at her, totally realizing she's jealous. Suddenly, things get way out of hand. He grabs a piece of paper, scribbles down his name and birth date, and records a video on the app. My wish is for C's practice to get postponed so she can make it to the party. The two of them just laugh it off, completely oblivious to the absolute disaster they've just triggered and the horrific consequences that are about to follow. As usual, they wake up the next day and head to school together. But the second they walk into the classroom, they notice Kim is acting super weird, gripping his phone in this really unsettling way. Right then, his timer starts blaring loudly. There's less than a minute left. Suddenly, he shoots up from his desk, his head twisting backward in a creepy, unnatural angle. When Jian approaches him to see if he's okay, Kim violently shoves him, sending him flying across the room. In that exact moment, Kim pulls a sharp tool from his bag and brings it to his own neck. It is terrifyingly obvious that someone or something else is controlling his body because he's struggling with all his might to pull his own hands away. C is absolutely devastated seeing her best friend like this. She screams his name, desperately hoping he'll snap out of it, but it completely backfires. He turns the weapon toward her and lunges at full speed. They both crash to the floor. The second the timer hits 2 seconds, Kim abruptly stands up and drags the blade right across his throat, ending his own life. C completely breaks down at the horrific sight. She rushes over to save him, but tragically, it's already too late. The case is quickly closed and ruled a suicide, but C is completely shattered. She had to watch him suffer right in front of her eyes. She gets hit with a flashback to the day before. She had gone all the way to his house to hand-deliver his birthday present and make amends. When he gave her the cold shoulder and refused to even come outside, she threatened him. "You have exactly 3 minutes to come down, or I'm jumping this fence and coming up there myself." Knowing she was crazy enough to actually pull it off, he finally caved. When he got downstairs, she apologized for missing his party because of tournament practice. But hey, the rest of the crew will be there with you. And here's your gift. That's when it clicked for Kim. That cruel phone call he got earlier, it wasn't actually her. He quickly apologized for the misunderstanding. Snapping back to the present, C is absolutely sobbing. She sprints down to see her coach for practice. The coach immediately pulls her into a tight hug, fully realizing how traumatizing this must be for her. She tells C, "Practice is canceled for today. Go home and get some rest." C freezes. She instantly puts 2 and 2 together. Jian's wish just came true. The deadly cycle is starting all over again. She frantically turns back to the coach, begging, "No, please don't cancel practice. We have to keep going." But getting out of this game isn't as easy as getting in, because right then, a massive chunk of the ceiling collapses, landing exactly where they were supposed to be training. At that exact moment, Jian gets a terrifying notification. "Your wish has come true." Before he can even process it, C bursts through the door, completely out of breath. "The countdown, it started, didn't it?" she asks. Terrified, he stammers, "Your practice? It got canceled." The remaining 4 friends huddle up to figure a way out of this nightmare. But the craziest part? The second Nari sees Jian's wish video, her only takeaway is raw jealousy. She's just furious that her suspicions about them secretly dating were right. Han tries to take a logical approach. He uninstalls the app and restarts his phone, hoping that'll kill the curse. But nope. As soon as the screen boots back up, the Girigo app is sitting right there. Nari loses her temper. She insists that Kim's death had absolutely nothing to do with some stupid app. It was just a coincidence, she argues. And the message? Someone probably just hacked his phone. She then turns on C, aggressively accusing her of making up this whole curse drama just to make herself the center of attention. C completely snaps. She's had enough of Nari's toxic attitude. "Our best friend died right in front of me today. What attention are you even talking about? I already suffer from night terrors every single day because of how my parents died. Can you even imagine what it's like to watch another person I love die right before my eyes? The only thing I care about right now is not losing anyone else." Han jumps in to defuse the ticking time bomb. He points out the chilling reality. There is definitely something supernatural going on with this app, considering it literally re-downloaded itself. He tells everyone to chill out and says, "Let's all group up at C's house tonight. We need to trace this app back to its roots and find out exactly who made it." Later, on their way home, Jian turns to C and apologizes. "I had no idea your parents' death was still weighing on you this heavily. I should have stepped up and been there for you more." But she quickly shuts that down, reassuring him, "Honestly, just having you around was enough to keep me pushing through practice and getting my life back to normal. So please, don't beat yourself up over it." But the second Jian gets back to his apartment, his phone rings. It's C, and in a twisted case of deja vu, the exact same cruel phone call Kim received plays out word for word. He listens to C trashing him, calling him a useless loser, and saying, "I'm honestly just dating him to kill time." But Jian doesn't buy it for a second. He literally just dropped her off. He immediately sprints downstairs to her apartment to check on her, and sure enough, she's completely clueless. Having just stepped out of the shower, thinking their phones might be hacked, he quickly stashes both devices inside the fridge. But C realizes this is way bigger than a simple hack. She drops the bombshell. Kim got the exact same call before he died. Later that day, the 4 of them huddle up. Han manages to dig into the app's code, but he's totally baffled. The design is incredibly basic. No weird hidden tricks, nothing. Figuring he can outsmart it, he starts messing with the code to pause the countdown timer. Yeah, huge mistake. That little stunt seriously pisses off the evil spirit. Out of nowhere, Jian starts violently scratching at his eye, complaining that something flew into it. But it quickly spirals completely out of control. He literally cannot physically stop his own hand. Suddenly, he points a trembling finger toward the balcony, staring in pure terror at something only he can see. Nari is so shell-shocked, she whips out her phone and starts recording. Then, things get incredibly gruesome. The finger Jian is using to point violently snaps backward and plunges straight into his own eye. The spirit goes on a full-blown offensive. Jian starts bleeding heavily, his entire body convulsing. Han jumps in, desperately trying to pin him down and gain control of the situation. But the tables completely turn. The spirit fully possesses Jian, effortlessly lifting Han off the ground by his throat with just one hand, ready to snap his neck. Thinking fast, C grabs a laptop and smashes it as hard as she can against Jian's head, knocking him out cold. The scene cuts to the hospital. Jian is rushed into the ICU in critical condition. C is absolutely frantic, trying to check on him, but Nari aggressively yanks her away. Why? Because Jian's parents are frantically searching the halls, demanding to know what the hell just happened to their son. When Han gets back home, he hyper-focuses on the app, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Out of nowhere, he gets a call from Hisul, the shaman living up in the mountains, who also happens to be his estranged sister. She frantically tells him, "Stop whatever you're doing right now. Quit messing with it. Everything that happened today is because you tried to tamper with the countdown. The spirit controlling it went into a blind rage and attacked him. If your friend hadn't stepped up and taken action, all of you would be dead right now." Han is completely floored. How does she know all this? He asks, "Are you seriously telling me this app is actually cursed?" She explains that it's not just haunted. It actively spreads curses to anyone who makes a wish, and it can easily latch onto people through a picture, a message, or even a video. The most important thing right now, she warns, is that you grab your friends and get up here immediately. I'm the only one who can help you. But here's the massive problem. At that exact moment, C makes the hardest decision of her life. She downloads the app, writes her name and birth date on a piece of paper, fires up her camera, and records her wish. The second she hits send, it's a done deal. The curse has officially latched onto her, too. When Han shows up and discovers the massive disaster she just caused, he demands, "Why? Isn't it bad enough what Jian is going through?" She tearfully explains, "I can't bear to lose him like I lost my parents. That's why I wished for him to heal. If I can just see this spirit everyone is talking about, maybe I can help." Right on cue, she gets a message. "Your wish has come true." Sure enough, Jian finally wakes up and is completely back to normal. But tragically, C's countdown timer instantly kicks off. Meanwhile, Nari heads over to C's place to grab her stuff and look for Jian's phone. And here comes the biggest plot twist yet. We find out Nari also made a wish, and her countdown timer has been ticking since this morning. To make matters even crazier, she suddenly notices that Jian's timer has completely stopped. She's left totally bewildered, wondering how the hell that's even possible. Back with the group, Han tells Sia, "We need to move right now. You need to meet my sister. And by the way, she didn't move abroad. She just gave up her whole life and career to become a shaman. I was just too embarrassed to tell you guys the truth. But right now, she's the only one who can save us." As soon as they reach the forest, the driver drops them off. The car can't go any further, so they're forced to make the rest of the trek on foot. The problem? The path is pitch black. Every few steps, they hear these bizarre, creepy noises, completely unable to pinpoint where they're coming from. Out of nowhere, a swarm of bugs attacks them. C absolutely loses it. She starts screaming her lungs out and sprints away as fast as humanly possible. Han chases after her and manages to calm her down, reminding her that they've barely even started the hike. She finally pulls herself together, and they push forward until they finally reach the house. But Han is hesitating. He can't even tell if it's the right place. He tells her, "I came here once before, but some guy answered the door and flat out refused to let me in. Even when I explained that Hisul is my sister, he wouldn't budge, insisting it was clients only. She wouldn't even come out to say hi, claiming some dark force was controlling her body, and going outside could trigger it." You can just hear the skepticism in Han's voice. He clearly doesn't buy a single word of that supernatural nonsense. Just then, the door swings open, and there stands Han, grinning from ear to ear. "Ah, my brother-in-law is finally coming inside. Welcome," he cheers. Han instantly gets ticked off at the brother-in-law comment, especially since this is the exact same guy who kicked him out last time. Right at that moment, C's phone rings. It's Jian. He sounds frantic. "Where exactly are you? How could I wake up and you're not right beside me? Where are you?" Hisul suddenly bursts out of the house and barks a warning. "Do not tell him where you are. That is not Jian. Put the phone down, right now." C is absolutely terrified. She desperately tries to pull her hand away from her ear, but she can't. She's completely lost control over her own body. To make matters worse, Jian's voice on the other end starts screaming, aggressively repeating, "Where are you? Tell me right now. Where are you?" Left with zero options, Hisul grabs a rope, tightly wraps it around C's arm, and yanks it back with all her might. The phone finally drops to the ground, and C instantly blacks out. The problem is, Hisol realizes in that exact moment that C's soul is trapped in the underworld. She urgently tells her brother, "I need to act right now to bring her back to her body." She strictly warns him not to leave the room, no matter what happens outside, until Hong gives him the signal. She and Hong quickly prep the ritual. Hisol ties a white thread around Sia's wrist, connecting the other end to her own hand. Once everything is set, she places her hands on C's head and starts chanting spells, projecting her own soul into the cursed realm to wake C up and guide her back. When C finally regains consciousness, she's completely disoriented, having zero clue where she is. Suddenly, Hisol appears right in front of her. "I'm Han's sister," she explains. "I'm here to help you get back to your body, but the only way out is for you to cross through 3 gates yourself." In the real world, Hisol instructs Hong to light the incense. Each burning stick acts as a timer. That's exactly how long C has to find a gate and escape. If the time runs out before she crosses, she's trapped there forever. As C approaches the starting point for the 3 gates, Hisol gives her one absolute rule. "Before you go in, promise me one thing. You must never look back. In the cursed realm, I'll be tethered to you through this thread. If you turn around, the evil spirit will be able to see me. If that happens, the gates will vanish, and it will attack me. I know it's going to be terrifying, but you can do this." The moment C puts on the mask, her physical body vanishes. It finally sinks in. She has to do this all on her own. Gathering every ounce of her courage, she steps forward to face the 3 gates. Stepping through the first door, she finds herself in a pitch-black school hallway. She pulls out her phone, turns on the flashlight, and cautiously inches forward to search for the gate. She accidentally wanders into a dead-end classroom. Remembering the golden rule, never look back, she slowly backs out of the room. But suddenly, she bumps right into someone. Shockingly, it's Kim, and he's holding a sharp tool. She immediately sprints away in pure terror, but she can't escape. The horrific scene of his suicide just keeps looping around her. No matter how fast she runs, he keeps reappearing right in front of her, crying and begging, "Please help me. I don't want to lose my life." C can't stomach the nightmare and rips open a window to escape, but then reality hits her again. She sees her reflection and remembers she's in the cursed realm. The fake Kim pushes it even further, dragging the blade across his neck right in front of her. But C remembers that day perfectly. She glares at him, completely thrown off by the fact that he's laughing while doing it. "You're not Kim," she snaps. "My friend was crying that day." She bolts past him, and just like that, the illusion vanishes. Finally, the gate materializes out of nowhere, meaning she has officially survived the first door. In the real world, Hisol barks at Hong to light the second incense stick immediately. Since the entity feeds off C's deepest psychological trauma, it seriously levels up its game. It drags her right back to the exact spot where her parents died. She sees them trapped inside the wrecked car, bleeding out from everywhere. C tries to keep it together, forcing herself to walk past them without stopping. But suddenly, the car door flies open, and her mother collapses onto the ground in front of her, desperately begging C to stay with her. C spots the gate just up ahead, but she can't bear to just leave them behind, even though she knows this is all just a twisted hallucination. On the other side, Hisol keeps pushing her. "Hurry, get through before the time runs out, or everything you've done will be for nothing, and you'll be trapped." Hong is an absolute nervous wreck, pleading with Hisol, "If she can't make it out, you need to pull yourself out at least. I can't just stand here and watch you get hurt." But Hisol flat out refuses. She is dead set on ripping off her mask and fighting the entity head-on if it comes to that. Breaking under the immense psychological pressure, C bursts into tears. She cries out, "I'm so sorry, Mom," saying her final goodbye. She sprints for the gate with everything she has, crossing through right before the incense burns out. But here's where things get really weird. The second she crosses, she sees Hong and Han sitting right in front of her. They try to convince her that it's all over, saying, "You did it. You passed the test. All 3 gates are done." They claim Hisol is just resting in her room after exhausting herself. But suddenly, C hears Hisol's voice echoing in her head. "There is still 1 gate left. Do not trust anything around you. It's all a trick by the entity." On the flip side, Hong tries to gaslight her, insisting that the voice she's hearing is the entity. To settle the debate, C demands he go get Hisol. He shoots back. "The entity is the one that wants to see her, right? You're going to get her hurt. Didn't she tell you to never look back? Well, now is the time to look back, because if you do, I can pinpoint its location and attack it." C is pushed to her absolute breaking point. "I don't know what to do or who to believe anymore," she cries. Just then, Han starts violently scratching at his eyes and drops a bomb. "When you were taking too long, I had to use the app to wish for you to come back safely. The spirit is right behind you." Panicking, C whips her head around. Instantly, the tether connecting her to Hisol snaps. It turns out, this whole thing was just the hallucination of the 3rd gate. Naturally, the backlash on Hisol is absolutely brutal. Her mask shatters, and she starts bleeding heavily. But even then, she flat out refuses to leave without C. Meanwhile, C finds herself trapped in a pitch-black void. The thread in her hand turns blood red, and suddenly, she starts bleeding from her mouth and nose, completely paralyzed. Luckily, Hisol manages to track her down just in time, warning her, "We need to get out of here right now, before the entity realizes I'm here." They make a mad dash for the gate, and finally manage to cross back to safety. Hong is practically in tears of joy and gives Han the green light. "Go ahead, brother-in-law, check on them." Meanwhile, Nari heads to the hospital to visit GN to figure out exactly what happened to make his countdown timer stop, but she finds him completely clueless. She shows him the video of his terrifying possession and mocks him, saying, "C hasn't visited you once since this happened. Looks like she's planning to dump you." Later that day, Hisol breaks down the reality of their situation. She explains that the app was created by a deeply vengeful spirit. To stop it, she says, we need to find the Mei-Gi, the medium that connects our world to the spirit world, and destroy it. Basically, they have to hunt down the physical object holding the curse's power, which is highly likely the cell phone C saw during her trial in the final gate. But there's a massive catch. No one can reach that phone except C, because right now, she's the only one tethered to both the entity and the human world. Later that night, C is fast asleep when she suddenly feels water dripping onto her face. But here's the horrifying part. The water is blood red. She jolts awake, completely terrified. Right in front of her stands the spirit of the entity, a girl with a gruesome neck wound, bleeding heavily. The spirit slowly creeps closer, pointing at something right behind C. The second C turns her head to look. Someone lunges at her. She violently jolts awake again. It was all a nightmare. She immediately tells Hisol about the dream, realizing a crucial detail. There were two of them, not just one, but I woke up too fast from the fear to see who the other one was. Before C heads out with Han and Hong to hunt down the cursed phone, Hisol ties a white thread around C's wrist. She explains that this thread will keep them connected since she physically can't leave the house to help them. She gives C a strict warning. If this thread snaps, you need to run back here immediately. You cannot face the entity alone, and whatever you do, ignore any calls or messages you might get. Concerned, C turns to Hong and asks, "Is it really true that Hisol can never leave this house?" He solemnly confirms it. Hisol's body is possessed by a spirit of her own, and her physical form wouldn't survive facing the entity without the house's protection. Seeing how visibly upset Han is about his sister's tragic fate, Hong makes him a promise. He will do whatever it takes to find a way to set her free. Meanwhile, Jian is finally discharged from the hospital. The very first thing he does is head over to C's house to see her, but instead, he walks in on Nari snooping around. She quickly covers her tracks with a flimsy lie, claiming C's aunt asked her to grab some things. At the same time, Han kicks off the hunt for the cursed phone using Kim's laptop. Since Kim was the first one to discover the app and synced everything to his computer, tracking his digital footprint is a breeze. Right in the middle of their search, one of Kim's gamer buddies calls him on Discord, completely freaking out. "Dude, where the hell have you been? People are saying something happened to you. I was terrified." Thinking fast, C types back, perfectly mimicking Kim's usual texting style so the guy doesn't get suspicious. She asks, "Why? Worried I'm going to come back as a ghost and possess you?" Relieved, the friend replies, "I got the stuff you asked for. Let's meet at our usual spot," and immediately logs off. This throws a massive wrench in their plan. Where exactly is our usual spot? But true to form, Han cracks the case in seconds by digging through Kim's location history to pinpoint the exact meetup point. When they show up, the friend takes one look at them and immediately bolts. C sprints after him, and the three of them manage to corner him. He throws his hands up in defense, swearing, "I swear I didn't do anything. I was just getting him his ADHD meds." And about that app, it started from a random post online. Kim found out about the ghosts of two girls from our school, Rong and Khan. Khan's mom was supposedly a shaman. Kim got curious and wanted to try it out, but the post was deleted right after. He hands them a photo of the two girls. Armed with this new lead, the trio heads straight to the neighborhood where Rong used to live to track down her and her shaman mother. They spend practically the whole day asking around until they stumble upon a small convenience store. They ask the owner about the shaman, and she points them in the right direction. She lived in the house at the end of the street on the left, but honestly, I haven't seen her in about 3 years. When they show the store owner the photo of the two girls, they are hit with a massive revelation. Rong isn't the shaman's daughter at all. It's actually her friend, Khan. As soon as they arrive at the shaman's house, Hong whips out his compass to check if the area is clear of any lingering spirits. The needle immediately starts spinning out of control. He warns the group, "You guys stay right here. I'm going in to check things out alone." To keep them safe, he positions them close together and pours a protective circle of salt around them. Suddenly, C spots the ghost of a girl girl standing right in front of her. She turns to Han and asks, "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" He's totally clueless, asking, "What exactly am I supposed to be looking at?" C follows the ghost all the way to the back of the house. There, she digs into the dirt and uncovers a buried jacket, a protection talisman, and a photo of Rong and Khan. Meanwhile, inside the house, Hong discovers a secret hidden room absolutely packed with creepy statues. Worse, he finds a school uniform tossed on the floor, completely surrounded by even more statues. He is completely baffled, unable to figure out if this was some kind of protection ritual or a dark curse. Suddenly, he hears Han yelling for him to come outside and check out the photo and talisman they just unearthed. Han quickly pieces it all together. The doors are finally opening for us. He realizes that the Girigo app is actually linked directly to the school's server because it was originally created for a school competition. This means every single video ever uploaded to the app has to be stored on that server. If they can track down the very first video uploaded, they can pinpoint the exact location of Rong's phone and finally break the curse. But there's a catch. Only teachers have access to the school's server. C quickly steps up with a solution. They can hack in using their track coach's email. The crew rushes to the school, sneaks into the office, and easily accesses the video files. But what they find leaves them absolutely speechless. They uncover a video of Nari, completely drunk, slurring. "My wish is for 2 people to die so I can finally get rid of them. Kim." She's just about to drop the second name when someone suddenly snatches the phone right out of her hand. C is absolutely devastated. She can't wrap her head around the fact that she lost Kim because of Nari's drunken wish. And worse, she's about to lose Nari too, because her deadly wish has already been granted. To understand how things got so messed up that she'd actually record a video like that, we have to rewind a bit. Back to the night she went clubbing with her 2 friends, Lee and Kira. In the middle of their hangout, she brought up the whole Girigo Wish app rumor. Weirdly, both of their faces immediately dropped. Lee confirmed that the app does grant wishes, but the catch is, it costs you your life. But when he saw how spooked Nari looked, he just laughed in her face, mocking her. "You're such a kid. Do you really believe in that garbage?" Stung by his teasing and acting completely out of spite, Nari grabbed a napkin, scribbled down her name and birth date, and recorded the video right then and there. And that second name she was about to drop? It was Lee. Fast forward to the next day. Nari sleeps off her hangover, rolls into school late, and is completely blindsided when Kim kills himself right in front of the class. If that wasn't horrifying enough, she checks her phone and sees the news. Lee is dead too. At that exact second, her phone buzzes with the notification. Your wish has come true, and her countdown timer begins. With the curse officially locked onto her, Nari starts experiencing brutal hallucinations. She hears the voices of her friends constantly trash-talking her family, whispering that her mom cheated on her dad before he died, and that's why Nari grew up to be so selfish and self-centered. Realizing she is in deep trouble, her first move is to track down Kira at her house. She demands, "Tell me exactly what you know. I saw your face. You know the truth." Kira spills what little she knows. "All I know is that a girl named Khan made the app to bully her friend Rong. They both ended up dead because of it. That's all I've got. If you want the real truth, you need to dig into Khan. She's the root of all this. And her mom was a shaman." This completely explains why, later on, when the group gathered at C's house to try and disable the app, Nari could actually see the entity attacking Jian. It's exactly why she pulled out her phone to record it. Things took a turn for the worse when Nari accidentally discovered that Jian's countdown timer had stopped. Seizing the opportunity, the entity sent Nari a fake text from C's phone that read, "We finally figured out how to break the curse. Just whatever you do, don't tell Nari. One of us has to take the fall." Nari fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Feeling utterly betrayed, she swore to herself she would make them pay. That brings us right back to the present. While C and Han are busy hacking into the school server for the videos, Nari and Jian are desperately digging through old records in the nurse's office, looking for any dirt on the 2 girls. They stumble upon Khan's medical file, which states she died from severe injuries to her neck and face. Everything clicks for Jian. He realizes she is the spirit. He distinctly remembers the massive scar on her face when she attacked him at C's house. But then he notices something else. Nari doesn't look surprised at all by this information. He turns to her and asks, "Are you hiding something from me? You saw them that day just like I did, didn't you? That's why you pulled out your phone and recorded everything." Nari snaps. "Did you drag me all the way down here just to interrogate me? I had no idea you even had this side to you. Look at you, finally using your brain." Jian desperately tries to de-escalate the situation. He doesn't want to start a fight and gently tells her, "I get it. You probably have your reasons for lying. But right now, I need you to tell me the truth. But right at that moment, the entity takes full control of Nari's body. She grabs a pair of scissors and violently lunges at him so she can escape. Meanwhile, Hong notices his compass spinning out of control. Sensing the danger, he sprints into the school to back up Han and C. By pure coincidence, he stumbles upon Jian, suspended in midair, aggressively digging his own fingernails into his neck, trying to end his life. Knowing exactly what he's up against, Hong instantly fires his arrow at the spirit, shatters the glass, and vaults into the room. But the entity manages to dodge the attack and possesses Hong instead. It forces him to grab a jagged shard of glass and slash his own face, right around his eyes. However, this horrific injury actually turns out to be a blessing in disguise. The wound grants Hong the ability to see the entity just like the rest of them. Now, to understand the whole tragic backstory between Rong and Khan, we have to turn back the clock and take it from the top. Rong and Khan used to be best friends. In fact, Rong was so incredibly attached to Khan that whenever she went missing, Rong would practically turn the world upside down looking for her. One day, Rong went over to Khan's house to check on her. Because Khan's mother was a shaman, the entire place reeked of incense. There was even a restricted room that no one was allowed to enter. At the time, Rong's eyes were severely bloodshot and inflamed. Khan's mother insisted on treating it herself, claiming the inflammation was caused by a cursed splinter. Sure enough, after performing a ritual, Rong's eyes were completely healed. Better than ever, actually. Rong was totally mesmerized by her powers, but she didn't stick around long, knowing full well how much Khan despised her mother's profession. Khan hated it so much, in fact, that she spent most of her nights crashing in a makeshift room inside an abandoned factory just to keep her family's secret hidden. The next time the two girls met up to walk to school, Khan caught a whiff of incense on Rong's clothes. She was absolutely furious. She had warned Rong over and over again to stay away from her mother. Rong desperately tried to smooth things over, apologizing repeatedly. Around that time, Khan was part of the school's coding club, and she totally noticed that Rong wanted to join just to hang out with her. But Khan gave her the ultimate cold shoulder. She pretended not to notice, and whenever she was hanging out with her club friends, she'd completely blow Rong off like she didn't even exist. Despite all the rejection, Rong just kept trying her hardest to salvage their friendship. Later that day, Rong was walking home alone from school when she coincidentally spotted Khan's mom collapsed on the ground, completely wasted. Feeling obligated, she helped her and walked her all the way home. Meanwhile, Khan was hanging out with her club friends, brainstorming app ideas for the upcoming competition. One of them threw out a pitch. What if we make an app that grants wishes? Like, the user records a video holding a piece of paper with their name and birth date and makes a wish. And hey, you guys know we have a girl in our school whose mom is a shaman, right? People are even saying she was the reason her husband died. Do you think it could be wrong? Khan stayed dead silent, absolutely terrified they'd figure out she was actually the girl they were talking about. So she subtly played along, implying that, yeah, it was probably wrong. As for Rong, after she dropped off Khan's mom, the shaman noticed the burning curiosity in her eyes. You can go inside the room and take a look around if you want, she offered. Taking her up on it, Rong walked into the restricted room and was instantly blown away by the sheer number of creepy statues hanging everywhere. One statue in particular caught her eye, a figure with something tightly wrapped around its neck. Khan's mom explained that it was called a dolmy. If you use it, she warned, it gives you the power to control a person and suspend them in midair by their neck. But there's a process. First, you have to carve the details of their face into it. Then, you need to get something from the person you want to curse, like their fingernails or hair, and wrap it around the statue with silk threads. The final step is to sprinkle it with warm, fresh blood. But the most crucial part? You have to truly believe the curse will work while you're doing it. As fate would have it, Khan arrived home right then and realized Rong was hanging out with her mom. She was absolutely furious and immediately stormed off. Realizing she had crossed a massive line, Rong chased after her all the way to their secret hideout to try and patch things up, but Khan totally lost it. She lashed out, confessing that her absolute biggest wish was for her mother to die so she could finally be free from everything tying her to that life. She then turned to Rong and snapped, "So what's your big wish?" Rong, being way too innocent for her own good, admitted that her ultimate wish was just for Tae, a guy from Khan's coding club, to finally notice her and return her feelings. Hearing this, Khan insisted that Rong be the very first person to record a video wish on her newly developed app, playing it off as a joke to lighten the mood. Fast forward a bit. One day, Khan's mom came home and was horrified to find every single statue smashed on the floor and her sacred room completely trashed. Of course, the person behind this disaster was her own daughter, acting purely out of spite and revenge. But what Khan didn't factor in was the massive spiritual blowback. She was the only one who was going to be punished for this. Fully understanding just how severe the curse would be, her mother made the the ultimate sacrifice. She locked herself in a room and desperately began performing a powerful protection ritual on Khan's school uniform, intentionally drawing the evil spirits away from her daughter so she could take the brutal punishment in her place. The very next day, when Rong went over to Khan's house to check on her, she found Khan's mom burying her daughter's jacket behind the house, along with a protection talisman and her photo. To make matters worse, she was bleeding heavily and clearly on the verge of death. With her last bit of strength, she handed Rong a talisman and pleaded, "Try to slip this into Khan's bag without her noticing. Her life is in grave danger, but whatever you do, don't let her catch you. I couldn't save her father, but I am more than willing to sacrifice myself to save her." But here's the tragic twist. When Rong tried to sneak the talisman into the bag, Khan caught her red-handed. Blinded by rage, she slapped Rong right across the face. And she didn't stop there. Deciding to enact the ultimate revenge, Khan broadcasted Rong's incredibly embarrassing wish video to the entire school and spread the rumor that her own mother was the shaman. Instantly, Rong became the target of relentless bullying. Completely broken and unable to handle the sheer humiliation and betrayal, Rong retreated to their secret hideout. She followed every single one of Khan's mom's instructions and performed the dark ritual on the Dolmy statue. And as we saw at the very beginning, she carved her name into the wall, recorded that chilling video on the app, wishing for everyone to die in the exact same way she did, and tragically ended her own life. The second Khan saw the video, she was struck with pure horror. She desperately tried to delete the app, but Rong's vengeful spirit had already taken full control of it. In that exact moment, the curse took hold of her. She lost all control of her body, grabbed a sharp tool, and brought it to her own neck. She fought back with everything she had, which is how she ended up with that massive scar on her face. But ultimately, the curse claimed her life too. Snapping back to the present, Nari, completely possessed by Khan's spirit, violently lunges at C with a metal pipe, but Han jumps right in front of her, taking the brutal hit in C's place. The second the entity sees Hong charging in with his bow and arrow, it immediately flees. C insists they head to the hospital right away to treat their injuries. Taking advantage of a quiet moment alone with Han, Hong drops some massive news. "You know how this eye injury gave me the ability to see ghosts, right? That means I can see the entity possessing Heesul. I can finally help her break free from it." Han is so incredibly overjoyed by this that he finally drops his guard and proudly acknowledges Hong as his brother-in-law. Later, the group huddles up to finally watch Rong's original video. A chilling realization hits them. Every single victim died the exact same way, from a fatal neck wound. But there's a silver lining here. From the background of the video, they managed to pinpoint the exact location of the phone she used to record it. At that moment, the ultimate truth is revealed. Khan is the real mastermind behind this curse. Right before she died, she used the app to wish for the curse to repeat itself endlessly. That means Khan is the evil entity controlling the game, and she's the one currently possessing Nari's body. The crew immediately heads to the abandoned factory where Rong recorded the video. But the second they arrive, a car comes barreling down the road, aiming straight for them. Hong swerves out of the way at the very last second, crashing the car into a wall. When he jumps out to confront the driver, he's totally stunned. The car is completely empty. He instantly puts two and two together. The entity is pulling out all the stops to take C out before she can reach the phone. Suddenly, Hong spots a massive iron rebar detaching from a nearby utility pole. It's falling right towards C. Without a second thought, he sprints at full speed and takes the hit for her. The metal rod violently impales him, tearing straight through his torso. C is absolutely devastated seeing him in this horrific state, but she forces herself to keep it together. She refuses to back down now. Fueled by raw adrenaline and a need for revenge, she grabs GN, and the two of them storm into the factory to hunt down the room hiding the cursed phone. When C finally locates the room and reaches out to grab the phone, Nari violently ambushes her, completely dead set on ending her life. Knowing full well that Nari is still possessed, Jiyeon acts fast and shoots her with a spiritual arrow, forcing the entity out of her body and snapping her back to reality. C finally grabs the cursed phone. Before leaving, she kneels down next to Nari, checking on her. "You're back, right? I have no idea how things got this bad between us, but let's just get out of here together." But in a terrifying twist, Nari leans in close and whispers, "No one is leaving here." The entity never actually left her. Nari violently yanks the protective white thread right off C's wrist, bursts into a maniacal laugh, and vanishes into thin air. Instantly, C's entire body seizes up. She starts convulsing, completely paralyzed. Sensing the crisis, Heesul frantically calls Ji-eun, ordering him to bring C up to the mountain house immediately before it's too late. Suddenly, C wakes up inside her school, surrounded by all her friends. Everything seems totally back to normal, but she's seen enough of the entity's twisted mind games to know better. She instantly realizes this is all a trap. She's been dragged right back into the cursed realm. Meanwhile, in the real world, Jian finally makes it to the mountain house, carrying C on his back. He frantically hands her over to Hazel so she can start the ritual and destroy the cursed phone once and for all. But here's the catch. After the ritual, C is still completely unconscious. Her soul is still trapped in the cursed realm. This means the phone they found wasn't the actual Maige, tethering our world to the spirit world. Forced to intervene, Hazel projects her soul into the underworld to help her. The moment she finds C, she drops the bad news. "I'm so sorry, but I failed to destroy the app." As they try to make a run for it, Rong's spirit suddenly appears right in front of them, pointing directly toward the multimedia room. That's when it finally clicks for Hazel. Rong has been trying to help them this entire time. She was trying to warn them that Khan was the true mastermind, and to destroy the app, they need to find Khan's actual phone, which is hidden in the multimedia room, the exact spot where she died. Hazel comes up with a plan. "You need to go find that phone and destroy it yourself. I'll hold off Khan as long as I can." The second C bursts into the multimedia room to search for the phone, Nari violently ambushes her again. But here is the truly messed up part. This time, Nari isn't possessed at all. She's doing this entirely of her own free will because she genuinely wants C dead. To make it even sicker, she spits out, "I don't even regret what I did to Kim. He's the one who dragged us into this stupid game and ruined our lives." Hearing this, C completely loses it. Fueled by pure, unadulterated rage, she beats Nari to a pulp until she knocks her out cold. Now, nothing is standing between her and the cursed phone. Meanwhile, Hazel manages to pin down the entity by pinning it to her own body with a spiritual arrow. The moment she spots C running back with the cursed phone, Hazel rips out the arrow and tosses it to her. C uses it to smash the phone to pieces. In a flash, they are pulled right out of the cursed realm. Mission finally accomplished. Later, they hold a proper farewell ritual at Hazel's house to say their final goodbyes to Kim and Nari, peacefully sending their souls to the afterlife. As for Hong, he is absolutely thrilled. Not only has he finally been discharged from the hospital, but he can still see the dark force possessing Hazel. Smiling, he tells her, "I finally figured out how to set you free so you can leave this house." The group is completely overjoyed, having almost given up all hope. And with that, our wild ride comes to an end.